Hey there, friends. Thanks for dropping by True North, a new community for Seattle Mariners fans. My name is Lydia Cruz, and today we're kicking off a brand new video series that is dedicated to the Mariners' starting pitching staff. Every Wednesday for the next couple of weeks, we'll move through their arsenal one arm at a time with the goal of highlighting what makes each pitcher effective. This week, we're getting to know one of the newest Seattle Mariners, 2021 AL Cy Young reigning champion, and on-field fashion icon, Robbie Ray. The Southpaw was Seattle's biggest offseason addition, pre-lockout that is, having signed him to a 5-year, $115 million deal. After going 13-7 with a 2.84 ERA and just shy of 200 innings pitched last season, Robbie turned down a qualifying offer worth $18.4 million from the Toronto Blue Jays. As a result, the Mariners will end up forfeiting a draft pick as compensation for signing Ray, but that's an easy sacrifice to make when you're signing a front-of-the-rotation starter like Robbie Ray. President of Baseball Operations Jerry Dipoto had these words to say about signing the ace here in Seattle.
This is a great day for the Mariners, and you all know from our description of what we were trying to accomplish this offseason that this lines up very much with what our goals were, to bring in the lead dog for a starting rotation that we think has a chance to go out and be one of the best in the league. And signing the reigning Cy Young Award winner is a rare occurrence. I think this is the 9th time it's happened in history. So 130-plus Cy Young Awards have been handed out, and this is a very rare opportunity to attract a current Cy Young Award winner to a new market. And Robbie had a dominant season this year in 2021. Led the league in virtually everything you can lead the league in, it appeared. And brings an element to us, which is a presence and the strikeout ability that he's always shown as a major leaguer is critical to a staff that has generally been more driven toward contact than strike throwing.
At that same press conference, Ray also talked about his excitement to come to the Pacific Northwest.
Seeing the last series that was played here, the fan base, showing up. Seeing talking to Jerry and Justin and ownership and seeing the vision and the direction of this team and the way that it was headed, man, I just wanted to be a part of it. And I could just tell the excitement with this organization and with this city. And, this team, this city is hungry for a World Series, and, to be a part of it and bring it here. I just wanted to be here.
I love that Robbie also said that he consulted with Mitch Haniger before coming here, a former teammate with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Mitch, if you want to be the guy to pitch all free agents, I'm totally open to that. Now, before we dig into Robbie's arsenal and what he does so effectively on the mound, let's cover a few basics. Full name, Robert Glenn Ray. Middle names are important, people. Birth date, October 1st, 1991. This makes him a Libra, which I've heard are creative types, so I think he'll fit perfectly in with the Crafty Lefties Club. Other quick facts about Ray: height, 6'2", weight, 215, inseam, legendary. Some players, they prefer the high sock look. Others go for a long, baggy pant. Well, Ray has perfected the slim fit, tapered look. Essentially the skinny jeans of Major League Baseball attire, and it's amazing. Robbie Ray's pants are so famous, in fact, that they do have their own Twitter account, one you should probably follow immediately. Now that we know that his nickname is Bob and he has amazing fashion sense, who is Robbie Ray as a pitcher? Well, let's start by taking a look at his arsenal. Now, all the data we'll talk about today has been provided by Baseball Savant, unless otherwise noted. It's an amazing resource if you don't already use it. Thanks to them, we could see that Ray relies heavily on his four-seam fastball as well as his slider. He does have a curve and a change at his disposal, but rarely utilizes them. Back in 2015-2016, when Ray was still with the Diamondbacks, he actually threw a sinker as his main secondary pitch, but usage of that has pretty much fallen off. According to Baseball Savant, he only threw it 5 times last season. So you can just call it his emotionally unavailable pitch. Like, it's there, but it's not really there. Ray's four-seam fastball and his slider are truly at the heart of everything he does on the mound. He threw his heater just under 60% of the time last season and his slider just over 30%. On average, his fastball clocks in at 94.8 miles per hour and maxes out at 98.3. Meanwhile, his slider comes across at 88.6 miles per hour on average and tops out just under 93. Both pitches are above average in velo when compared to the rest of the league, and in particular, Ray's slider has some steam on it. So, what is it about Ray's four-seam slider pairing that makes it such a devastating combo for opposing hitters? It starts with Robbie using his heat high in the zone. If we look at Ray's pitch distribution based on plate count, you can see he's thrown a small chunk of first pitch sliders and curves, but he's primarily leaning on his fastball to greet the batter and get ahead in the count. I'm going to repeat get ahead in the count for dramatic effect because that key concept was crucial to Ray's success in 2021 and will be for him moving forward. Ray's natural ability, his innate talent, his strikeout stuff have never been in question since he was drafted straight out of high school back in 2010. But what has been an issue for him at different times in his career is command, in particular surrendering a lot of walks and falling behind early in counts. In 2016, Ray's impressive strikeouts per nine number was marred by an inflated ERA and a career-high 15 losses. In 2020, before being traded to the Blue Jays, Ray led the National League in walks surrendered, 31 in 31 innings, while still playing for the D-backs. That makes the turnaround that we saw from Ray in 2021 all the more impressive. It did begin with some off-season changes, a few mechanical tweaks, and Ray talked about that in his introductory press conference.
I've always had swing and miss stuff. I felt like, I was one tweak away, and I felt like I was always making a tweak or trying to change something up. And this past year, I feel like I found something that is just never going to change. And it feels right. It feels comfortable. It feels normal. And it's repeatable. I think that's the biggest thing is I was always looking for something that I could repeat and that felt natural to me. And, I found it and I hit the ground running with it.
Jerry Dipoto also touched on his evolution from good to great.
As you all know, we've focused on dominating the strike zone, and I think that was the key ingredient for Robbie in 2021. Taking the step from good to great was dominating the zone the way he did, and we're really excited to see what that does as we move ahead.
We know that getting ahead in counts is so important to the Mariners. So how exactly does Robbie do it? Well, it usually begins with him throwing a four-seamer high in the zone, especially against right-handed batters. Here's a heat map of every fastball thrown by Ray against batters on both sides of the plate in 2021. Against righties, he often uses that pitch up and away. If Ray's initial four-seam offering results in a strike, that pitch had a 24% whiff rate last season, then he might stick with it and hunt for strike number 2. Ray's 0-1 pitch of choice is still his fastball more often than not, as shown here in red. After getting ahead in the count, particularly in two-strike situations, Ray then often turns to his slider, low and inside against righties for the put-away. Here's a heat map of every slider Robbie threw last season, 967 in total, most of which were thrown to right-handed batters. The release point on Robbie's slider is very similar to that of his four-seamer, and he can repeat both motions with freakish consistency, impairing the batter's initial read. Ray's 1-2 punch of fastball high in the zone, slider low was lethal last season. To illustrate this, let's take a look back at a particularly great performance by Robbie last June 8th against the Chicago White Sox. Ray went 6 1/3 innings, gave up 5 hits and 1 run, but even more impressive, no walks and 13 strikeouts. Many of those strikeouts began with heat high in the zone and ended with sliders in the dirt. In the first inning, Robbie surrendered a single to leadoff batter Tim Anderson and then fell behind in the count 2-1 to Nick Madrigal. So what does Ray do? He goes back to the four-seamer to even things up, 2-2. Ray then tries to put away Madrigal with his slider, but Nick fouls it off. Ray goes back to the well once more, and this happens. For a millisecond of beautiful hope, Nick's thinking, yeah, I got this. But that sweet glimmer of optimism is quickly replaced with a swords moment, followed by a very relatable, what just happened kind of look. The next batter is switch hitting Yoan Moncada, and he elects to bat from the right. Ray actually goes with first pitch slider in this instance. That lands in the dirt, ball 1. Now behind in the count, Ray opts for the four-seamer and quickly regains his footing by getting 2 strikes. Back in control of the count at 1 and 2, where Ray feels he can be aggressive, he now opts for the slider. And as a result, we get more slider, strikeout face. Strikeout, slider face, one of those. I had to make a close-up just cause. At this point, Ray has got 2 outs and Jose Abreu strolling into the box. It's heaters up in the zone again for the first 2 pitches. Then Ray tries to use the four-seamer as the put-away. Instead of brushing the corner up and out, though, it's wide for a ball. And instead of going 4 straight fastballs, he opts for the off-speed. Ray doesn't get deterred when the count evens at 2 and 2. He goes slider again. And this time, he gets the whiff that he was looking for. Strike 3. Slider face is back. So those were just 3 of the 13 strikeouts that Robbie had that day against the Chicago White Sox, many of which employed that high heat, low slider combination. There's still so much to talk about when it comes to Robbie Ray. I'm calling an audible, and we're going to turn this into a 2-part video series. Next time, we'll talk about why he's so good at generating swings and misses, why he's been so effective in the shadow part of the plate, the shadow attack zone, and why he gave up a decent amount of barrels in 2021, but why that isn't too big an area of concern for Mariners fans. So that'll be on part 2. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. It's the first in a series that we'll be doing on the Mariners starting pitching staff. Next time, though, Robbie Ray, part 2, don't forget. More tight pants will probably be in the mix. Yeah. Thanks also for dropping by True North and for hanging out with me, Lydia Cruz, for the last however many minutes. Thanks for putting up with me for insert blank here, that amount of time. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time.